All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dan Know Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. So, just to kind of give you guys the key catalyst in play here is that we had the Clarity Act advance yesterday. So we had the vote on the House Banking, the Senate Banking Committee, 15-9. And so now that is heading to the this full Senate floor. What that means is that once, if it, it all goes well and it passes the Senate floor, then it will move to President Trump to sign, and then it will be put into law. So that's one thing. So the U.S. market structure is basically, gives us a long-term bullish outlook, as it brings the CFTC and the SEC clarity to be able to have, all of these different provisions, the market structure for banks and institutions and, across the board, just to basically have some, the system likes their rules and regulations, and they always, but what's funny is that when we were watching this, Elizabeth Warren and her cronies and basically the mouthpieces for the banks, they always say, oh, we want to have consumer protection. We want to protect the American people and the investor, and we want to have less crime and terrorists using these rails and be able to freeze their transactions and blah, 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 blah. So what they forget to mention is that the banking system that's currently in play right now in the fiat, military industrial complex completely trumps all crime through the dollar. There's nothing better than the dollar in the banking system to funnel money through, whether it be through the taxes or the slush funds or the quote, fundraisers and all these things that and these meet up, like it's like Hillary Clinton getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars just to go and do a speech for like 30 minutes, like a bunch of crap. So we know that eventually crypto is going to be the end game, and that the banks are scrambling. But I just think that how we can think about it here, and for the long term, for being bullish macro and thinking, okay, the scam is never going to stop. They're never going to quit. The money changers are going to just move to the next thing. So the feds, we want to figure out what the feds are going to exit out into. Well, it looks like it's crypto. But we've been gaslit to think that that's not what's happening here, and I think that's what's happening. I think we got some key things to pay attention to here, and one of them being hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is definitely the talk of the town. We've got IPOs like OpenAI, and a lot of these companies that beforehand you couldn't get exposure like a few days before to trade these IPOs or ICO, or so we'll just reference IPOs, and they're getting tokenized and getting exposed, and people are able to catch like a 40%, 50%, discount, kind of like the institutional buyers and the accredited investors got to do for years and years that the public didn't have access to. That is, I think, what the golden goose here in crypto is like, what Ondo's doing with the tokenized stocks on Solana. Solana being the NASDAQ on chain now, where you can basically trade everything. Everything is moving towards, us being able to get this early exposure before it's, I don't want to say too late, because we're still really early. I don't think it's going to, be this God candle and it happens in 1 week. I think, it will be a steady up to the right over the next 2 years, because we've thought about how the Trump presidency and the Trump, administration probably is going to want to go out with a bang. And if anything, we've seen the attacks already on the markets. We've seen how the tariffs went. We saw how each individual war has happened with negotiations, with, talking with, Ukraine and Russia to try and negotiate that, trying to talk to China to negotiate to not attack Taiwan, to talk with, Israel between Iran and all of this. There's like so much stuff that's happening right now. It's pretty, it's just like, man, yeah, there's just a lot going on. There's just a lot. So I think with the setups here, I don't see why we would be continuing to get even more bearish. We had our time to be bearish, and now I think it's time to believe in something. So welcome, guys. XX just said, it's all pretty gay. Just say it. It's like, man, yeah. If you're from the '90s, if you grew up in the '90s and early 2000s, so gay. But I think what's happening is we had a hella shakeout. I think this is a shakeout. So if we want to look at the Bitcoin price right now, that was a nice little shakeout. And I think what they're doing is just they're holding. Bitcoin is still holding steady. We didn't lose 80K too bad. It wasn't too bad. But we have to always recognize that the pulling the fibs from the swing high to the low can reveal where we will have some bounce potential with Bitcoin. And we'll go into one of these charts, the Bitcoin. Give me just a two. Here, okay. All right, cool. Okay, so there's a couple different trades we want to show you guys. I saw this, the Bitcoin was going down, it was consolidating. Instead of it, you know, doing the manipulation flush, like I think this was more so like Binance and you know, the high volume exchanges that are able to flush those longs. They were like, look, we're gonna flush the long so we can clear the books, and they did that. You can see how in this area they just flushed it. And a lot of flush that needed to happen. Leverage liquidation right here, and then you can see now that once they get enough of the order book cleared on the longs, they're going to go for the shorts up here at the top. So the short leverage liquidation is going to happen at 82,400. So 82,400 is a key level that we want to look for a for where they'll just you can see the range. The range is pretty established now. You see it's like 82, 80, 82, 79, 80, 82, 70, 78, not 79, 80. I mean, we've basically established that the 236 here around 79 is like very key support. And if this holds strong, and if you think on the hourly right now, it does look pretty strong. If anything, it could do a quick flash to 78 hit here. If we're looking at this in terms of like if they want to really fake us out, boom, and then they send it. You know, we almost got up to where we thought we were going to go, but we got rejected off the 786. So you can see right when we got up to 82, 81, it said no thank you, and they flushed the longs. Now they're just going to flush the shorts. Everyone's going to pile in their shorts thinking, you know, they're geniuses over here, but it's looking like they might smack those shorts. Smack them at 82.4, and then the next level that we're calling is the 1618, which is at $85,000. So with that, you can catch some longs, and what we did is we tried to catch a long on Sol, but it's still a little dicey. Right now, looking at Sol, it's doing the same thing. You can see it's trying to bounce, but you can see there's a lot of support at these lower levels, which is a lot where you can see where the estimated liquidation level is. So some interesting things happening here, but if you can catch the bounce, I think Sol, being one of the institutional picks for adoption of tokenizing all these stocks, being able to trade all this stuff 24/7, on chain, we got the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu community representing in here. We got More Light. Shout out to the Sprotos. Ticker Bit. If you're in the Ticker Bitcoin Telegram, they're hinting at a partnership with this online. There's like a poker online on-chain poker venture that I think some of the Sprotos invested in. It's kind of some of their friends. They started a thing. I don't do any like poker or online like gaming in that aspect, so I would not be the one that's testing that. But if you are into things like that, then there's going to be a potential partnership, something going on. I don't know. Look out for that if you're into doing any online poker stuff. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. If you want to learn more, you got to join the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10E new Telegram. But you have to like literally like wash your eyes after leaving the Telegram. Be pre-warned. But yeah, so I think the bounce here, if you're pulling the fib, we're gonna re-pull the fib and pull it down into basically these lows here, this support low. It looks like it wants to bounce, but it's sitting around in this area. Got to test back up to the 618. That would be 92. We're looking for $100 SOL. 96 invert. We thought that was going to be an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Fell off of that, but $100 SOL is pretty fair. I think that's at the 1618. $100 Solana. Some people think that it's just going to like crash and burn, and it's going to go back down into go to $40. Like people think that SOL is going to go to $40 like right here. Like it's going to break it, like it's going to break down, hit like $50, $40. Basically go back down halfway through like what was the cup and handle. I'm a little bit more on the other side, that it breaks out of the cup and handle and fakes out a lot of people. And hits that first 1618 on the larger fib, which is the $431. I know you're thinking, I know you probably already left. You guys probably already left. Yep, you all left. Cool. But I do think this is the shakeout before the ultimate breakout. And we want to, so shout out to Elon and X for actually putting the X algorithm on GitHub and explaining how the feed works. And you can basically take all this information, feed this into AI, and curate exactly how you can make your account get more engagement based on how the algorithm has been working. And it's all on the GitHub. So this is what I'm doing currently. I put it into an AI chat model, and I am going to just kind of work with it and see what it can do with that information by the scoring and by how the feed works, and just see how it goes. And so I'll take its recommendations, put my flavor on it, and, you know, add my spin. But ultimately it's going to, I think it's going to do well. I think it should help the algorithm. Everyone's always talking about the freaking algorithm. All right. Let's look and see. This is what I wanted. Moment. So if you noticed that when Trump was in China, he took all of the CEOs and the big players. He basically just took the entire U.S. economy with him to make a deal. And so there's the winners and losers from the Trump and Xi Beijing summit talks. And so we're going to kind of get into, so the two presidents put on a display of warmth and respect, friendly scenes. So winners, Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, appeared to want a calm summit without fireworks or controversy, and he got it. Trump's presence in Beijing, warm words for China's government, handed the Communist Party leader a propaganda victory, seen in part of Trump's silence over Xi's contention that had established a new constructive, strategic, stable relationship. So let's see. He said, Trump threw his weight behind the U.S. credit card giant's push for entry into mainland China's massive payments market. Visa is a big deal. I said, what about using Visa in China? For some reason, they were blackballed, and maybe that'll come off. And then with Iran, the war was expected to dominate, if not overshadow, the summit. Trump said he didn't ask Xi for any favors, but believed he would lean on Iran to reopen the waterway. China could crack down on dual-use technology or strong-arm Iran behind the scenes. But Beijing the predominant buyer of Iranian oil, didn't even mention Iran by name in its public statements about the summit. Trump, meanwhile, shrugged off one of his key asks, the recovery of highly enriched uranium, as mostly a public relations exercise. All right, and then the Taiwan thing. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. The market reacted very well yesterday. And I think that was, that was an opportunity to, it got people excited, and then we see this rejection. But the thing that I'm curious about is Hyperliquid. So there's like a few things about Hyperliquid that has came out. We got the Coinbase acting with the Treasury with their stables. What was the other one here? Okay, yeah. Then you got this. Then you got Graham. Then you got Graham, ticker Bitcoin. Egregore member. What just person who's on the he's on the team. He's pretty public about it. I mean, he's like, look, I work for the Egregore, which is AKA. Hopefully he's the insider. You just like, it's just you hope whatever you're in, you got the feds, the insiders, I don't know, whoever it is. But the things that I think he's working on in the background, which is if you know about, if you watched our live stream, he came on the live stream 2 different times and watched the interview. He talks about his experience in market making. He was also pretty early to Bitcoin as well. So, so he knows the back end deals. He knows what is happening through, like, basically how to structure a deal too. And so I'm curious what you got native markets here, a new era for hyperliquid stablecoins. So native markets set out to provide Hyperliquid with a stablecoin that put users first rather than treating them as an afterthought. We built this with the implementation of our line quote. So he said, this is interesting. He said, prior to dedicating my life to the Egregore, I worked for the largest market maker in crypto. That was Wintermute, I believe. My love of the institutional side has never died, and I'm excited to say I'm a part of developing another complex capital product. Without getting into the full details, let's just say the below tweet has a lot of relevancy as to what I'm up to. Today, Coinbase announced its plan to expand support of Hyperliquid by becoming the official treasury deployer of USDC as an aligned quote asset. Under the treasury deployers will share the vast majority of the reverse yield revenue on their Hyperliquid supply with the protocol. So pretty interesting. Now, I wanted to go into something that in crypto, you got to remember, these are like companies, some of them being DeFi, some of them being more decentralized or centralized. Some might be a combination of both, where you have like certain aspects of it are pretty straightforward and decentralized in its manner. But then in terms of the control, or maybe there's voting, there's a DAO, I don't know, whatever. That kind of changes things up a little bit. But either way, they're supposed to generate revenue. If you ain't generating any freaking revenue, if you ain't doing anything that is going to generate revenue like a company would on the stock market, then your earnings are going to look like shit. Your way that you're going to have to operate your business is not going to last very long, and you will not survive, and you'll die. And that has happened with projects. And so what I'm starting to look at is like, okay, who's actually generating revenue, and who is using that revenue to do something like, for instance, what Hyperliquid's doing, which is they're basically, they fund for buying hype tokens. The fees go to assistance fund for buying hype tokens. So it's like, you think everyone is, implementing some type of Hyperliquid tech into their app, whether it be like one of the most recent ones, Trust Wallet, then you have Coinbase, and and then you think about Circles, which is USDC, all the yields from USDC backing cash equivalent assets and US Treasury bills collected by Circle. There in the past 7 days have generated 46 million revenue. But in 30 days, what's really interesting is Hyperliquid, we've talked about it, and it generates pretty much the most revenue on a monthly basis out of any perp dex or anything like that, any chain. Then you think, okay, look, let's go down the list. Like we got Tron, Chainlink, and then Pump, you know, they have all those, they're generating a shit ton of fees. You know, basically you would say that they're, you know, milking the trenches because they're not even, they even are trying to do the buybacks for the token, but then there's no talk of an airdrop. And, you know, some people would say this is a pretty controversial pick of what you would think is generating revenue and if it's going to be viable in the future. Is Pump going to be something? I don't know. That one's tricky. That one's a very risky one, you know. And it's not to say they all have their risk. They all have their risk limit. They all have a different type of risk to it. Like you think Tron also is like the second to Ethereum for stablecoins that are minted and being used on Tron. But then you have the lawsuit between World Liberty Financial and Justin Sun of the discrepancies between the different of the tokens and the movement of the tokens and what was allowed or not allowed. And so, yeah, so all these different outcomes, you just hope that your bags will pump. You just hope that the bags will pump, the altcoins will get their day. You know, Chainlink was always the thing that people talked about. Like, oh, Chainlink, you know, is supposed to be, it powers crypto. It powers the back end of crypto in terms of off-chain, on-chain data. You got the CCIP, whatever. All linked tokens transferred from the payment abstraction layer to a reserve and stake and rewards contract. So we're just, you know, we're looking at stuff. You want to keep an eye on the revenue. You want to keep an eye on the revenue. What, you know, are they actually making money? So the tickers that we're following right now, we are following, we're keeping an eye on Zcash. We're keeping an eye on Sui. We're keeping an eye on Solana, Hyperliquid. And inside of all those ecosystems, we're just going into whatever we think is like the wheelbarrow, the meme, whatever's going to be the most popular thing. We're also keeping, you know, our eye on Pulse Chain still. That one is definitely, I think when we get back into the good times, you know, ETH is at like, you know, passing an all-time high. You know, ETH passing an all-time high would be interesting to see how the market is going to react. And especially with pairs in ETH, I would just be very excited to see what happens. I know you guys would be too. And also to hear the screeching squeals of people who were so bearish ETH and then now they're having to buy ETH at, like, imagine the people that didn't want to buy ETH at 2,200 or 2,300 are now buying ETH at 6,500. That would be hilarious. It's just going to be Ansem. Like, Ansem is going to do that. Like, Ansem will be like, shit, am I really buying ETH at 6K right now? Thread guy will come to the timeline. Am I really buying Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 ENI right now? I thought that coin was cursed. Blah, blah, blah. And you heard it here first. You heard it here first. How many people are watching right now? It's Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. What was that girl's name? I totally. You guys remember her? She actually made some pretty decent dough off that song. That song went viral. But that was one of those where you just, you know, you have the rich parents and you're like, all right, make my kid famous for like a week, please. All right, Zcash. Let's talk of each individual coin I just talked about real quick, and we'll just give a kind of a thesis here. Zcash got ran back up very close to where it had previous resistance. from the absolute bottom of 211, 202, 195 to 200, around that zone, range of 211, 230. Any of that spot, if you were to had longed, it's just crushing it. So that's we were chasing the Zcash price during those pumps. And we actually got a pretty decent average entry of 390 here. And that helped us to be able to actually, print some, extra dough to be able to DCA into these things that we were just talking about, like SUI, Hyperliquid, Sol, different things like that. And also ticker Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, just straight BTC. It's just right now, and even in February, even in the start of the war, the timeline was trying to convince you to just like sell everything and get out. Like just sell everything, get out, go to stables. And it's like, what good does that do really in the long run? It does you nothing. And like, I think about certain bags that, I could sell a little bit, but like, it's almost like the timeline really tries to make you think that you need to just be like fully out, sell everything, get in the bunker and wait for the blast and then come out and then try and like buy stuff. And I don't think it ever really works like that. And what I think was happening across the board here. So we just wanted to look at it from a different perspective and say, all right, well, the market, we're definitely in a different dimension. We're definitely in a different way of how the markets digest news or digest any of whatever is happening. Like, we obviously knew that was changing and that was becoming different. And that's why we abandoned the 4-year cycle and the whole like, oh, it's going to do this, blah, 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 blah. I think, like I said, like the Trump administration, we got 2 years left. They're going to go out with a bang. It's going to be up and to the right. Up and to the right. And they're trying, and it's like, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are going to give up before it, they're going to give up right before the biggest run. And that sucks. I don't want that to happen. That's why that's why I've been here every day, whether there's 2 people watching or there's 100 people watching. I think right now, if we're going to be honest, there's probably like, 60 people watching right now. But if I can get 60 people to just not give up, it's not even about whatever the freaking it's not even, I don't even care what coins you're buying. I don't even care at this point. But if I can encourage you to just not give up before the biggest generational run we've probably ever seen, then I have accomplished my mission. Like, I do want to help people make money and stay and survive in this game, whilst other people will make you feel like you're stupid and that, oh, you missed it, bro, you're washed or whatever. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, we in the dojo crew here, we're going to encourage each other. We're going to know that you got to risk it for the biscuit, and you have to learn how to lose money and not be demo trading or fake trading or waiting on the sidelines this whole time, because that doesn't teach you anything. What it does is it teaches you honestly, I'm just going to tell you, it teaches you nothing. Like, you have to, and I use the analogy of like a skateboarding. It's like, what are you going to do? Play Tony Hawk on the game and think you can go out and do a real kickflip? No, you go and try a real kickflip. You go try a real kick. You probably might bust. You might hit your ankle or something. You will probably hit your ankle. And you get used to it. You get used to that feeling and it toughens you up and you get better at processing it. Because what a demo or it's being sidelined or whatever watching, it's just like it doesn't train you to be able to withstand one of the most volatile markets ever. And you have to be able to get better at doing that, because then when you're starting to put in real money, you won't freak out. Your emotions will change. And it's like when real money starts to come in play and it's your money. And that's what's so different about certain traders. It's like, why do you think some of these traders can put in the trades? Because maybe that money that they got was like, it's not even real. It might not even be real. And for one, it might be given from the exchanges. So then they don't even care about it as much. But if they made that money in fiat out in the real world by mining fiat and then put it into account and then tried to trade it, you bet your ass your emotion is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot different. Okay? Capital doesn't just come from nowhere unless you're an insider in the exchange promoting it to get free money to get people to trade on it. Open your fucking eyes. So don't be so naive. You know, that's what buy. Like, this is buy zone, baby. This is the buy zone, not the cry zone. Yeah, be irresponsible while everyone's trying to be like, oh, the 4-year cycle, bro, watch out. Like Leia Halpern coming up to try and tell me that I need a short. I'm like, that's the biggest signal ever to be like, wow, you're insufferable. So that's why I don't block people like that. I continue to follow them because I'm like, they are a great metric. You don't even need to pay for nothing. Just follow certain people. I feel like someone's chicken is loose out. Like, I hear a rooster or a chicken, and I feel like it's loose or it's getting choked right now. Okay. Ackman. Okay, so Walter Bloomberg said, we sold Google and bought Microsoft. So, all right, so maybe is Microsoft going to catch a bid right now? What? That's weird. What is going on? The Waymos. Man, are we about to get like taken over by the Waymo cars? Have you guys seen these Waymo cars? They're coming in like an army in the morning and just like taking over the cul-de-sac. Yeah, so X just open sourced its recommendation algorithm today on GitHub. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So guys, you should test it out. Go to here's the GitHub. And here's the GitHub link. And what you can do is take all of that information, feed it into a chat model, and whatever, you can feed it directly into Grok and then link it to your account. Or you can use Claude. You send that into Claude. You say, analyze this, and then I want you to build blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like what I did is I said, I want you to build me I want you to analyze my account, like how I post, like analyze how I post, analyze the algorithm and the scoring. And then I want you to take the most relevant news in crypto over the past 10 hours. And then I want you to generate a good high scored, high algorithm posts. Or you can use it to say, I want to make a scorer, make a post, and then put it in there, and then it can score it, and then give you recommendations on how to tweak it to make it better. And that's cool. I love that because people have been arguing about the algorithm and how to make it work for them. But then they were just like, well, here you go. It's open source now. You can just look exactly how we do it. So that's pretty cool. So if we want to get monetized, because here's the deal, there's money to be made in X. That's why do you think people bought their accounts and try and do all this stuff to try and game the system or whatever? But people are getting punished for that now. Now there's a iron dome of X AI slop. They're making sure that that content doesn't get precedence over real content. So like us, Nikita, Unc Nikita, Mr. Nikita Bear, Nikita Boar. This would be a prime example of an account that instead of it saying 56 people, it could say 55,000, just like Mario. And Mario's been caught like promoting all bunch of scammy, stupid shit, and also posting AI slop. And why is he still getting that? So look, I want 56,000, not 56. Mr. Nikita. But I'm gonna figure it out because here's the deal. I have genuine real content. And I'm also posting and talking about the most relevant stuff. That is what the people who run X want you to be doing. Because then it's pushing people into what is the most relevant topic of discussion right now. And then getting them to click, getting them to blah, 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 which generates all of that traffic, which makes them money. Also, in turn, giving me a piece of the pie. And it's like, you got to start giving the piece of the pie to these people that show up every day, genuine content, real. We're not AI. We don't bot our streams. I don't bot shit. I haven't paid a dime to bot any of my stuff. I don't pay for followers. The most I've ever done is I've bought promotions on some of my YouTube videos just to test it out and see how that does. But other than that, it's just raw, organic from people posting, resharing, or just hopefully they will be nice and give me some of that algorithm. But now that the algorithm scoring method and scoring and how they operate is open source, I'm going to dive deep into this because this is great. Because then we can just basically do exactly what we just said. We can get better scores, get better posts going through, so then we can get rewarded and get monetized and get a piece of that pie. Because I'll tell you what, the probably X payouts, the X payout money that goes to scamming accounts is probably out of this world. It's almost like how our tax dollars go into these accounts and then go to a Somali daycare that doesn't exist. That's the equivalent of how X monetization money should be funneled to people like us. 100%. And it should not be getting squandered by these assholes that bought their shit and game the system, which X clearly doesn't like and punishes. Not enough. You still give them the payout. So let's fix that. And clip this, please. Clip it. I will clip it. Everyone clips it. If you're watching on X and you believe what I'm saying and you agree, clip it and share it with Nikita. He'll reply to all these other people and he won't reply to me. I've even asked him nicely, hey, bro, you want to come on the stream and talk about your background and how you even got to the point you're at? And let's dive in and let's get into the weeds, bro. Tired of this gatekeeping shit. Gatekeeping bullshit. That's the thing. Like, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you've been riding with me and the dojo crew, we are absolving the gatekeeping for everyone. We're tired of it. Like, I'm tired of the gatekeeping bullshit. I have felt that my whole life, where I start to get closer to something and then you feeling these they're like this. Gatekeepers. They're gatekeepers. And I'm like, bro, I'm tired of you. I'm about to drop kick all gatekeepers in the fucking chest. I'm tired of it. Like, and you should feel like that too. You should feel like anytime you feel like someone's about to stop you from getting to your next level, you like Liu Kang flying double kick. Ah! Like, we're getting them. This is it. Like, We've had 5 years of training in this crypto battleground here, and we are stronger now, by the way. We're a lot stronger. I don't know if you've noticed when you shake someone's hand now, you notice you got a real firm fucking handshake. You got a real firm handshake now. I wonder why. Because you're locked in. You're ready to go. You're locked in. Now, let's look. Did we look at Pulse Chain? Should we look at Pulse Chain? Where's the Pulse Chain? Where's the Pulse Chain chart? Where's PLS? PLS should be on here. Or we just go to Pulse Chain stats. Go to Pulse Chain. PulseChainStats.com. And let's see. Do we have a Pulse Chain candle? I doubt it. I think with Pulse Chain right now is actually Pulse Chain is down 3%. Let's see on the 24-hour, down 2%. Been down only. Incentive token just down only. Yeah, if you're buying Pulse Chain right now, you're buying the absolute just bottom of the well. Just absolute bottom of the well. So even just putting a couple $100 into this ecosystem right now at the absolute bottom could be an insane play. You think you hold that for the next 2 years and just see what happens. And you could be like Ron.eth, who cashed out $500,000 of Hex. He might have paid like $10,000 in gas fees. But hey. So, and I'll just remind you guys, here's the breakdown of what the Pulse Chain ecosystem is. It is a cheaper Ethereum. It's supposed to be quantum, hack-free, admin, freed. It's supposed to be the most secure blockchain, blah, blah, blah. Faster finality, hasn't gone down, 3 years of runtime. You know, all the things that Richard Hart says. And then, so PLS is the gas token. Hex is the mining token, like a Bitcoin. ProveX is the privacy peer-to-peer protocol. PLSX is the DEX token, and then the trade where you trade. And then incentive is the token that is rewarded for providing liquidity in the pools on PLSX. So it's pretty. So that's how, if you want to like test out DeFi with small amounts of money, this is actually a great place to do it. So to learn how to do this stuff, Pulse Chain is a great onboarding thing. And what it can do simultaneously is teach you how to not get hacked, teach you how to use blockchain, and you could be staking, mining, providing liquidity, buying your crypto peer-to-peer, and then you have you start to learn it all. That's what I think is cool about Pulse Chain. People underestimate Pulse Chain in the way that it could just like teach people how to just crypto and the basics of just all those things. And so that's what I did. I just used small amounts of money and I tested it, providing liquidity, gaining some incentive token. I've tested, I've bought some memes inside of here too. So then we used our strategy of like, okay, well, what are the more popular meme coins and communities inside of Pulse Chain that are super loud? Well, it's the UFO. It's the UFO currency that's connected with the PTGC, the Grays currency. And then you think, oh, okay, the pairings of these of the pools and what tokens you use is where you start to find all of the cool things of why people are parking some of their some small buys, or just thinking this might be a cool hedge is that the core tokens and the core coins are paired with all these different tokens. So for instance, like I just told you about this ecosystem of the Grays currency connected with UFO. But look at how there's different pairs for UFO. There's PLSX pair, and then there's also a UFO hex pair. There's also a UFO wrapped PLS pair, and so on and so forth. With the PTGC, which is pulsed TGC, it's paired in wrapped PLS. It's also paired in the UFO token. It's also paired in, I think it might be paired in a few others. But do you see my point here? So when it has this network effect, I think, or this pool effect, when we get the pump, then if you're holding a few different of these tokens, then this is how I think we're going to see some massive green candles. Like Headband is talking about, Pulse Chain, mega green candles that no one's expecting because they don't think anything's happening here and there's no community. But it's all just happening right under their nose. Because if you look, the 24-hour volume is 3.1 million, and Cardano is, you think like something like Cardano to compare it to, is at like 1.6 million. So, I mean, it's way more transactions. Then you go to something like Avalanche, that's like 126 million. I don't know. So you think like Pulse Chain at a point, you start thinking, dang, that thing starts, we get 24-hour volume going in the 100 million. That's when I'm going to think, okay, somewhat the whales are knowing something. They're putting in a little bit more volume. We'll have to see, because it's still kind of rookie numbers compared to what, say, like Base Chain. Base Chain's got 1.14 billion of 24-hour volume, but you got to remember a lot of this is botted. A lot of this is from it's just botted transactions. So Pulse Chain, 393,000 transactions. I mean, I would imagine some of that's maybe botted as well, but then you think of the volume, that might be the true volume. That's what I think about Ticker Bitcoin. I mentioned, Ticker Bitcoin's, on-chain buying pressure is terrible. I mean, it's got 61 traders. There's only been 89 transactions. But the liquidity to market cap ratio is healthier and cleaner than most meme coins, even SPX 6900. So then the volume is only 25,000. That's probably the realest volume of a coin because it's not being botted. Like some of the Solana tokens, which end up going to 150 million, like super fast. Not because a bunch of people decided to start buying it. Getting crimed. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at the markets. I really like looking at the markets this way. Man, I really hope I want Sol to freaking run. So I see Solana. I know you guys are probably wanting to get into a Solana trade yourselves. And we were too impatient. We should have waited a little bit. We could have waited a little bit, but we got in at 89.3. So it's like 88 was a nice bounce. It kind of that was a nice little bounce here. Or a little retrace, because it eventually went to 88.4, 87. But yeah, it looks like it's catch a bid. You catch a bid, get back up to 90, and then we start to get back up to these levels. Start good, but we're looking for $100, $100 Sol, right around the corner. You gotta remember, Solana is one of the most wash traded tokens by the big boys in exchanges. Easier for them to do it. They can do it in massive clips, and they just send millions and millions and millions of dollars of Solana through the clearing houses, whatever you want to call them. And that's why Solana for traders, if you know that, and you know that it establishes a range, and you can even see it on like a weekly, you can see how a weekly range has been established from the bottom, even going back to February, and all they've been doing is just going bop, 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 doop, 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 doop. And eventually they can't keep doing it so much. They have to let it go because the institutions, look, the Clarity Act, you got the CME group is now fully supporting crypto indexes now. You can trade full crypto indexes that have 7 cryptocurrencies, including Solana. So they are going to make sure that that's going to like kind of stop. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know which way or how, or if they're just going to they're going to still try and do it. But then I guess the buying pressure on Solana over in this area will absolve them trying to wash trade it and keep it in that range, because we have something like this. How is it? Oh, I think I didn't book. It's the CME group. Okay, so two things that are key here. In 2 weeks, you'll have the power to trade crypto futures and options 24/7. Starting May 29th, manage your crypto risk every day around the clock. Okay? 1 index, 2 contracts, 7 cryptocurrencies. The CME group crypto index futures will be available in larger and micro sizes on June 8th. So let's click into this, and I want to know because it's definitely Solana in there, obviously. Definitely Solana. They're not saying what crypto overview. Okay, check this out. Here we go. Boom. You want to know what the institutions are buying now? You want to know what the feds are buying? Here you go. This might tell us. Oh, shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Damn. Okay. There you go. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Chainlink, and Stellar Lumens. What is this, 2022? What is this, 2020? What is this? Am I back on Robinhood? Am I back on the Robinhood app? What the hell is going on? This is wild. But it's funny, Stellar Lumens was one of the first cryptos I actually ever bought. Stellar Lumens was one of the first cryptos I ever bought. And then another one was Chainlink and Cardano. It's funny, all of these cryptos are the first cryptos I ever bought. Was Stellar Lumens, Chainlink, Cardano. I bought a little bit of XRP and then I sold it immediately because my friend was like, "They're in a lawsuit, sell it." I got, Ethereum, Bitcoin. You see the historical performance, the NASDAQ CME Crypto Settlement Price Index, portfolio performance. Yeah, I didn't go through all this, but yeah, man, that's pretty great. Approved core exchanges: Coinbase, Bitstamp, Gemini, OURBIT, Kraken, LMAX Digital. So looks like you can do that. You can trade this on those exchanges. Right. Giving us a little bit of a tip, you know, on just kind of what the big boys are looking at. New Sol was going to be in there, but if you look at the allocation, interesting that they had a higher allocation weight of XRP than Sol. And then Ethereum obviously being the second choice. And this is what I'm telling you guys, like you're like bearish ETH and like denying the strength of ETH. And it's going to get to 7K, break an all-time high. And it's like you're going to see the timeline just erupt, you know. People that were the same people that were telling you that ETH was going to $500 are going to come back on the timeline to tell you that I don't know what they're going to say. They might not even come back, to be honest. They might not come back. We're just waiting. Bitcoin's just holding steady. Bitcoin today is just holding steady. It did a nice little dump, but now it's just kind of holding steady. No flash wick yet. No flash, nothing. That's why we went long some alts. We went long Solana, even though it looks like it's still playing some games in that range. We're still long from the bottom of 75K Bitcoin, and also we're long from 390 ZEC, and also long from the bottom at 90 cents SUI. Same with TON. We're long from the exact bottom, and we actually took some profits from there a couple different times. As you can see, exact bottom right here, profit, taking profit. Would have been nice to take profits at the absolute top, but got a little too greedy. But we took profits, and now we went into the hype trade using some of that liquidity, and I think that's a good trade, because before you know it, guys, like we said on the stream, follow the trend your friend. Before you know it, hype is going to be back at $50, testing this ultimate trend here that you can see over time. Yeah, think about $50. $50 is fair, very fair. See the channel for me. Nice channel. Yep. You want to look at that in the macro here, a little bit more of the daily chart. Yeah, that $50 resistance, man, flip that to support, and it's off to the races. And everything's set up in terms of what the narrative is telling us about Hyperliquid. And it's like, only are you willing to take the risk while everyone is telling you to get out of crypto? I think that's kind of where we're at. It's like, are you willing to take the risk while the system and whoever, and they're just trying to tell you, don't be here. Well, basically, like, the whole entire system's going on chain. Oh, and by the way, Ponky, we didn't even get to Ponky yet. God, we had so much to talk about. Ponky freaking crushed it today. Ponky went up 40%. Was cooking it today on the daily. So let's go to the daily candle. I'm telling you guys, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're just trying to, like, get exit liquidity on us or something, but Ponky's giving me some signals. I don't know what's going on, but it's giving me some signals. It's giving me some vibes. I feel like it's going to be one of those tokens that people go back to, like the trenchers. Like, there's some people I think are just getting tired of trying to keep trenching like 20K, 30K tokens and trying to follow the viral news or whatever. And it's just like, why don't we just like buy established brand tokens and call it a day? You just call it, you can just do that. So I think that people might actually do that. They'll go back to things that they remember. And then I think one of those things might be Ponky. So we've seen that now we're bouncing off a pretty key previous resistance. We pointed this out, and I think it's, I don't know, I got some kind of intuition going with this. And then once we hit into this area, this is where it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to react. We also want to point out the fact that if you take Sol and put it on Ponky, you'll realize that, like, wow. Okay, so Sol going back up to any of the prices, like, for instance, this is the market cap, but we want the actual price. We want the SOL, not market cap. We want SOL price. So we want. Look at how much it correlates and follows the price. It was really following it good here, and then it kind of broke off and got kind of uncorrelated in this area. But I'm thinking SOL goes back up to over 100, then we got Ponky back at like 15 cents through that previous resistance. You're looking at spot from where we're at now. That is a 3. That's a 4x. So the 4x with an established like meme character could be that easy. I don't know. But we're watching it. We're keeping track of it. We're watching the movements. So the helmet's still on. The helmet's still on. The helmet never left. We've always liked Ponky. That's why we put it on Elon. We show our respect to one of the memes that we really were bag working for. Like we were dead on with Ponky, to be honest. Like just like Crash, we were early to Ponky into the price action, and all the price predictions that we called on Ponky were correct. We were dead on. And so I don't know. Helmet's still on. I like the memes I like. All right. And of course, ticker Bitcoin, hashtag, you go hashtag Bitcoin, and you'll actually see, you'll see some of our posts, you'll see some of my posts pop up first when you do that, which is cool. So hopefully that'll help with that old algorithm. We'll see. But yeah, don't care, didn't ask. And especially the latte images. That's the stuff that I'm trying to go viral on mine, is like the daily latte art, because that's my latte art. I didn't go to a coffee shop. That's Sproto art right there. But all right, love you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Watch the market. Take it easy. I think this could be, it was just a nice little shakeout before the breakout. Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled on a potential Solana break back up into the 100 range. I think this is the weekly chart, so we were just ranging for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I mean 12 weeks we've been ranging. So we're gonna have to get 1, 2, 3 weeks of non-range and to get back up into 120, over $100 SOL. And what do you think that's going to do to the Solana memes? That's why I think the whales are accumulating old Solana memes. But it's hard to accumulate silently because it's all on chain. So once a whale starts to buy, you start to see these things in. It's hard to keep that chart down. And I think that's what's happening with Ponky. You get a couple little buys, you get a couple, oh, I remember Ponky, and it starts to go up 40%. But you can probably hear the copium in my voice. We'll take it though. We'll take it. But yeah, some key things you guys can watch right now. Like just keep your eyes on Hyperliquid. You don't want to be surprised when it's like at $100 and you could have been DCAing this damn thing at like 40. 100. I think $200 Hyperliquid is fair. Even old freaking Cransum, he thinks Zcash and Hyperliquid are easy $100 billion tokens, and I would agree. No reason for them not to be, and the fact that we can get exposure into these things, not being accredited investors, and you can just be chucking $20, $15, $20, $15, $20. You'd be so surprised how fast your bag gets built up, and then you have crypto exposure. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I don't have money to invest. What are you talking about? You don't have money to invest. You're not trying hard enough. You're being lazy. You're not even doing your budget. What do you mean you don't have money to invest? If you got some extra $10 that you are about to go spend on a fast food or whatever, you could be DCAing. And the minimum of what you can purchase on sometimes these exchanges now, they're making it a little easier. Before it was like you had to have at least $20. I mean, now I bet you can have 15. $15. You can get some Solana. You can get some Sui. You can get you can get you can get almost 10 Sui for $10. You can get 0.1 Sol for $10. That's how I used to think back in the day. When I was DCAing in 2021, I was like a madman. Any $25 I got, any money that I got from doing like lessons or whatever, I was like, I'm getting it in. And it's that strategy that will be like, whoa, you'll be so surprised. And then if you're like compounding it with your trading and doing the same thing every $50 that you make extra on some trades, you're immediately robotically taking it out and putting it into your cold storage. You're immediately like, or your, cold or hot wallet, whatever it is, whatever you want, whatever you feel is more secure for you, whether it be your cold wallet on a certain device or on a certain, seed phrased bank account, because that's essentially what it is like your own seed phrased bank account with your own passwords. And now think like something like MetaMask or Phantom. One seed phrase holds your entire like wealth on chain for Bitcoin, Sui, Ethereum, Polygon, Base, Solana. And then when you go on MetaMask, it's freaking Hyperliquid, Tron. It's Hyperliquid on Phantom too, but I mean, then it's got Tron. All these different chains. I mean, you just think about it. Once you start to realize how powerful you are with your assets like this, man, it's like you can have money everywhere. Liquid money. Hyper liquid. You have become hyper liquid now. You're not frozen by the banking system. You're not frozen by all of these limitations and the walls. You are now hyper liquid. So it makes sense. Hyperliquid should fucking pay me to do their commercials and their advertisement and to shill their stuff, because I'm doing way better job than Ansem is. All he does is do fucking tweet. I'm here sitting here breaking down the damn thesis. But I digress. All right, love you guys. Check out all the links in the description. Participate in this market. You're gonna do yourself a favor for just being active right now, just being a participant. Don't want to be on the sidelines right now. I don't care if you lose money. You're supposed to lose money, baby. You got to get used to it, because then when you get used to it and you get better at that feeling, and also you get a little better at keeping it as well. Because I don't want anyone to make you think that when you go into investing, you're going to, quote, make a bunch of money from getting into crypto. That's where you go wrong first. That the expectation should be immediately that you're going to lose everything. Your expectation getting into crypto and investing, or I don't even care what you're investing in, your expectation should be that it goes to zero. I don't care how much money you put in, you need to be prepared for that to go to zero. And then anything else that happens after that, you just be surprised. Be like, shit, all right, let's go. You come in from that space and you are going to dominate, because then you're just going to sharpen your skills. You're going to get better. Your armor, your chain link, your mithril, everything gets better. So let's do this, my friend. All right. I think we can do it. Let's go. And I thought we could at least get 10 likes before we end the live stream. Pretty atrocious. Whatever. We show up. We show up regardless. And by the way, we're about to be at 800 episodes of a live stream. We've done 800 live streams. 800 live streams. I have receipts. 800 receipts of my consistency. And that, my friend, is worth the weight in gold for any brand or whatever, partnership, company, anything that wants to give me a chance. I will outlast everyone, and I will continue to grind, and I will dominate, and that's it. So if you want to keep grinding with me, get in the Discord, get in the Telegram. It's all free. There's no paywall crap. And just check out the links in the descriptions. Best way to support the channel, get in the Telegram. We post signals and posts and everything all the time in there along with the crew. And we just appreciate you guys very much. And again, I want to say, may the light of the Lord Jesus Christ shine on you and your families. And I want you guys to have a fantastic, and stay positive, stay sharp, and God loves you. And I hope you have a good day. Peace.